So you said this is stabilized Mammoth Ivory.
I had the whole tusk. It was about 4 feet long. I sent it to Belgium. It cost me $3,800 to have it stabilized, and this is going to make 1911 hand grips. This particular piece here is going to go tomorrow. The guy's picking up, put on an old case knife with ivory. This particular ivory is I believe a fire starter by the Eskimos up in Alaska.
That's
Mammoth
beautiful.
Ivory.
And the back looks like it's a little charred too.
Yes, it is.
Probably burnt a long time ago.
I just traded a piece of wild horse for this beaver skull today. I think it was the coolest thing there is. Look at his little buck teeth.
That is amazing.
In fact, this is the growth rings for the growth in a woolly mammoth. You'll see how they separated. They haven't been 100% fossilized.
And you see this a lot in Mammoth Ivory,
yes.
which is why
we stabilize it, and the best place to stabilize is in Belgium. Then they have to vacuum the moisture out of it after it gets stabilized. So all of the places that have voids have been replaced by this resin. And beautiful contrast in your pistol grips.
Fantastic.
So if you have a lot of money and want to buy a set of grip material, you just come and see Big Chuck.
The gentleman who's using this for this Smith & Wesson is going to love it.
Wow, look at this.
Beautiful stuff.
Absolutely.
You know, stones I cut from these shells.
I beg your pardon, sir. Where does this material come from?
Spiny Oyster comes from the Sea Cortez in Mexico. I cut all these from these shells.
Do you use traditional lapidary grinders and
yes,
saws?
Very hard. Very hard. Some of them I back because it's real thin. So the backing, I use DevCom on some of them, and some of them, like this particular one, was thick enough I didn't have to back it.
Oh, wow.
They're gorgeous. I sell a lot of these cats.
I live in Taos, New Mexico, and I see this a lot in jewelry. It's kind of like a standard with the Danae and Hopi jewelers.
It is. Spiny Oyster is beautiful colors.
And you said you harvest this yourself?
Yes.
Where does it come from?
It comes from near Mammoth, Arizona. It's 16 miles to drive in, 4x4. Half the time you'll put a puncture in your sidewall because it's really a tough road, and then you got a mile hike with your hand tools. And it makes beautiful. There's a sample of, I'm going to put water on it, the colors and that. It's just absolutely gorgeous. It's called Wild Horse Magnesite.
That's fantastic. And do you know what the host rock is to the magnesite?
No, I don't.
I'd call it a jasper.
Probably. I believe so. Yeah.
Stunning material.
Slabs, tabs. In fact, this is my tabs from my wild horse that I've tabbed up.
Your polish is so impressive for only 1,000 grit than hitting it with
look at
Zam.
that.
Oh, jeez Louise.
These are $20 a piece. Any cheaper, I'd have to go on food stamps.
Oh, no.
Yeah, which I never have. Look at that, gorgeous stuff. I traded one of these cabs for that beaver skull.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Great cuts. It must be super duper stable to be able to cut something like that.
It's beautiful, beautiful stone.
Thank you, sir.
And here, I'll tell you the story of this. The only dealer that's got this is this fire brick. This got out of the Lake Superior in Upper Michigan. This is a fire from a copper smelter, just a fire brick. It's been replaced with vaporized copper, so all that grout line there and the fire brick is infused with copper. Makes beautiful jewelry. They made a historic site in Michigan, Lake Superior, on it to keep people from taking it. But this is, the divers got this before they put up the historic site, so there's very little of this around.
And there ain't gonna be any more when it's gone.
No. A nice piece of beautiful native copper, glacial, out of the glaciers. We pushed it, and that's copper with the quartz.
Stunning.
Here's a beautiful specimen of native copper.
Oh boy.
This particular piece right here looks like a javelina highlighted.
Oh, it sure does, doesn't it?
I'm surprised that hasn't sold yet.
Yeah, for that price, absolutely.
If they don't buy from me, they pay too much.
Absolutely. Yeah, if that was to end up at like a rock shop in Albuquerque or Santa Fe, it would probably be well over $700. Do you happen to have a card, sir?
No, I give you my phone number.
Absolutely, I love it.
I'm kind of old-fashioned. Yeah, McKay's a good guy. I buy stuff from him and he buys stuff from me. And Wayne, you can talk to Wayne about, he's an exclusive miner of the tufa, the pink to marcherite.
These aren't files. Take it right off.
The Nevada Rose.
And he's got the...
It's an egg that's lost in
That's a real thing.
I've cut this a few times. Bought a small piece from him about 3 years ago.
the pink?
Yes.
Okay, because he would have got it from Wayne or Lane.
I believe I bought it from that gentleman right there.
Yeah, because he's
And it's, if I'm not mistaken, slightly, I don't know if it's, I would call it fibrous, but it has kind of like a grain.
Yeah, some of it's shit-twenty.
It had like a grain, and I don't know if I did it justice while cutting it. I think I could have done a better job.
James, right?
What we've got here is a lot of saw marks on this. I'm trying to get the saw marks out, and then I'm starting off with a 50 grit. Pretty aggressive grit, and it makes its own type of little marks too, but it's not as deep as the saw marks in some of these. So then I'll jump over from this to 100 grit, and then from 100 grit to 200 grit, and from 200 grit to 400 grit, and then 400 grit to 800 grit, and 800 grit to 1600 grit, 1600 grit to 3000 grit, from 3000 grit to 6000 grit.
Oh wow, 6,000.
And then we'll start getting polished more like you're seeing here, which is Chatoyant and Nephrite Jade crystals that you see now.
I don't see too much jade with chatoyancy like this.
You won't see very much in the world anywhere. I've probably got the most Chatoyant and Nephrite Jade in the world.
Fantastic.
It's from Nevada. I discovered it back in 1999 with Ed McAllister. Got a great write-up to Rockin' Gym magazine in 2001, March issue. And tells quite a lot about it. We had it all verified through Mackey School of Mines, and a lot of petrographic, microscopic, and chemical analysis. And it is a nephrite, a true nephrite jade, but it's a macrocrystalline nephrite versus a microcrystalline. And what that means is that here's your common jade here, the common variety jade here. And it's, if you look at that on a microscope or a thin section under a microscope, you'll see this pattern here. It's an interlocking crystalline pattern of actinolite, which makes nephrite jade the toughest stone on earth. Not the hardest, but the toughest. And I've got probably the most chatoyant nephrite jade on the market anywhere in the world.
Fantastic. Never seen anything like it. It's so chatoyant, it almost looks like Sraphanite.
Yeah, it's if this was Sraphanite, and I did this with it, if this was Sraphanite, which is a core from Russia, and I did this with it, I'd gouge a hole in it. They have to stabilize it just big to cut it. It's very soft. It's core with hardness maybe about 2, maybe 3, maybe. So this is the tough natural nephrite jade with a hardness of about 3.5. And it is crystallized in the bands. Not all of it's crystallized, just in the bands that I mine. I have large pieces of solid green jade. I just don't bring them down because I think it could be on the world market. So I pack everything on the mountain down on my back. Unfortunately, a lot of the bands are in big boulders up to 300-400 pounds.
Oh my!
I have to skid them down, and so we skid them down. We and my dog. We skid them down, and we put them on a 48-inch rock saw and cob out this point pieces like that. We make a lot of jewelry, a lot of cabochons for jewelry. But to show its beauty, you gotta massage it a little bit and get those saw marks out of it, and then the sandy marks that come through here. Sandy marks. See this one here, you can see the saw marks really good on it.
Oh yeah, sure can.
And so what I'm gonna do, I'll have to take those out, and it looks pretty. You know, you can see it fairly good, but it'll be more like that when I get through with it.
Fantastic.
The show's real busy. I don't have time to do this. It's a Monday, so may or may not be busy today. But you can do this dry and wet with these diamond bits. I like to do them wet, but we don't have a hose hookup, so I'll just spray a little on there. You don't want to breathe the dust from any of this stuff because the silicon. This jade has a high silicon, and most rocks do that take good polish, like your different chalcedonies and agates, jaspers, petrified wood, things like that, have a high silica content. That's what gives it the ability to take a good polish. The higher the silica, the better polish it's going to get at it.
Fantastic. You sure know your stuff, sir.
Well, I've been doing this since I was 14 years old. Cutting stones since I was 14, and they come with these real neat little polishing units like this. Such a fun to use. It's all in patience. You just don't get an instantaneous anything. It all takes time and patience. I guess the older I get, the little more patience I have. I don't know. Over here, it's got the patience of the saints. This guy,
If you don't buy from me, you pay too much, Wayne. Big stuff.
He's a stone cutter, and he works at it real hard. And a lot of people can learn from him because he's got a lot of patience.